and I think most of you who are returning probably remember Amber. She's a physical therapist here in town. She does a great job with lots of, I think you might have treated Dr. Bowles' son. Did you work with?
That could be. I can't technically
Okay.
say names, so.
Okay.
She's treated.
All right.
I can confirm or deny that.
Okay. She works with a lot of people here in town.
There we go. Yeah.
Great job. So we've asked her to return and kind of share with us some things as musicians that we can do to be good to our bodies and how we can use our muscles and stretch our muscles. So I'm going to let her kind of talk a little bit and get started. She's got a couple of handouts too. Would you like them now or just on their way out?
I think even at the end, you guys
Okay.
can take them, and
Okay.
so we'll just review them, and then you guys will know. They'll be kind of a review from last year.
She's going to have you moving around a little bit, so I just had you starting. We aren't videoing this primarily because some of you guys have asked in the past, what did she say about this or that? So Professor Arnott is going to post it on YouTube afterwards so you can actually see it. So if you have some questions about some of the exercises she does. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to you. It's all yours. So.
Okay, thank you. So like she said, I work at Hillsborough Community Hospital, so just down the road from you guys. I've been there, I think, almost 4.5 years here. So we do a lot of outpatient ortho work, and lots of it is overuse injuries, and lots of it is poor posture. So we'll kind of go over some of that, and lots of times you guys might think, hey, we don't get injuries, but at the same time, depending on how you're sitting all day, and lots of you, if you're playing an instrument, you're in front of you, you're not playing behind. So then the front of us tends to get really tight. And so the back gets stretched out, and so then you're thinking your back's really tight, but in fact, it might be the opposite. So we'll go over some simple exercises, and also some nerve exercises for you guys to do, some glides. Does anybody ever have like numbness, tingling fingers? Not yet, maybe. Yeah, so I'll give you some different exercises that you guys can do, because again, that's something where the nerves are getting pinched by muscles, and so then it can refer into your hands. So we'll look at that too. So, any questions right off the bat from last year, anything you're wondering about physical therapy? Anybody been to a physical therapist? Hey, a lot. For injuries, I'm assuming. Pain, back pain. You guys are all young, that's good. But almost 80% of us will have back pain at some point in our lives. It's just so common. And lots of it is because in our world, especially in America, we like to sit. So sitting is the new smoking. So keep that in mind. But so one thing that we'll talk about is just stretching the front. So like I said, so let's go ahead, if you guys want to, we'll all go ahead and lay down on the floor. So,
Find your space.
yeah. And leave just a little bit of space between. You guys want to do a circle or So knees are bent, okay, and you're on your back. Yeah, some of you remember. Good job. So palms are up. So the reason we do that is lots of times, yeah, give yourself space. Freedom to fly. Okay, so lots of times when we walk, right, our palms tend to be in, and so we get this weird posture where we're really forward and bent. So now we're just opening up those palms. So by doing that, you can already feel a stretch at the anterior chest or the front of you. So if you turn your palms over, how does that feel? No. It's your shoulder pain. That feels probably maybe easier, especially if you're down by your sides. But when you open up, it's like, oh, it's a little stretch, okay? So this is what we call our decompression position. So your knees do have to be bent. You can put pillows underneath your knees if you'd like. But here, all you're doing is you're laying here just in this position for 5 minutes, okay? And so if you have a disc issue, if you have osteoporosis, which hopefully none of you have yet, we're all way too young for that, but say you do, it's still safe for that. Say you have a back fracture, this is safe to do, okay? So your grandparents can do this. This is one we give out to almost all of our ages. So every generation needs this. Okay, so the second part of this, you're doing a head press. So what you're doing is just pressing your head gently back into the mat. You're neither tucking your chin down and you're not pressing the top of your head back, but you're just kind of smashing your head into the floor. So you might feel a little stretch in the back side of your neck. Okay, so we're lengthening that side. right? Lots of us get that weird forward head posture, right? And so that can cause not only
You hear
bad
that,
vocals.
singers?
Yeah.
Why aren't you doing
Yeah.
this?
Yeah, because
Yeah, you need to learn.
because she's a scientist. She knows more.
You're a doctor.
Doesn't mean we all learn.
Everyone listen to her.
Go Dr. Jen.
So how, and think about 5-second holds there when you're pressing back. And then relaxing. If there is pain here, you wanna back off, okay? You don't wanna press so hard that it's hurting. Very good. So this is another place, even at the front of your neck, that you could get pinched nerves, tight muscles, where it's gonna pinch things and cause that weird numbness, tingling sensation in your fingers. If you happen to feel numbness, tingling, weird sensations in your hands in this position, just means you're really tight. So that's okay. It will go away when you get up and out of the position. And after time, it shouldn't happen anymore to you. So there's also something we call thoracic outlet syndrome. So scalenes, which are in the front of your neck, little tiny muscles, those tend to get pinched too, and that can pinch off an artery. And so then that causes that weird, again, numbness, tingling sensation in your hands. Right, very good. So now that you've head pressed, you've decompressed, how about we're gonna do a shoulder press here. So we're just squeezing your scapula or your shoulder blades back and together. And it's gentle, so you feel your back arching, maybe pressing a little too hard. And again, you're holding for 5 seconds and then slowly relaxing. So you're trying to break up all the muscle groups into tiny pieces. And this is one we usually don't do a whole lot, and if we do, we're throwing it back and arching our back, and then that's gonna not help you as much as what we're hoping for. Lots of times the instruments you guys play are one-sided, and PTs go, yikes, we hate that kind of stuff, because again, you're always doing it to the same side. You don't transfer your violin to the right side and the left side. So that can be something where your neck's always tight on one side. So this is especially important to learn how to stretch those muscles. And same thing, you know, if your neck's tilted, you're thinking cervical disc issues too, so that head press is gonna be really important to you. Super. So what's everybody think about the position, shoulder press, head press? Easy enough, right? Super simple. So if anybody has trouble falling asleep, this is a great thing to do right before you go to bed. If you're already laying down, bend your knees, do some of your exercises, take some deep breaths, and then all of a sudden you're zonked out. It's relaxing. All right, very good. Okay, so I'm gonna have, if everybody can come into like crisscross applesauce. After you're all relaxed. Okay, so give yourself just a little more space because we're gonna have our arms up extended here. Yeah. Long arm people. Okay, so here we're gonna talk about nerve glides, okay? So just like a muscle needs to be stretched, you also want to, what we call flossing the nerves. So every nerve can get pinched, and there's lots of different sites along the nerve that you can get pinched at. So we're gonna show you how to get rid of some of that. So there's 3 different nerves that we're gonna go over in the arms, okay? So, and I'd suggest doing them one side at a time. If you don't have symptoms, you can always do two at a time, like both arms. But let's just try with one. So here you're kind of making, yeah, the other one. Okay, so you're coming and you're pretending to make, remember how you were a kid and you did sunglasses, remember that? So that's what you're doing. So here, we're just flossing that ulnar nerve. So you never want to stop and hold it. You want to go right through. So here you should feel pressure and then no pressure. Okay? So you might feel some little singing in your pinky. A little bit. So then you think about keeping your arm out to the side. There you go. That'll stretch a little more. And then you can also tilt your head away. It's going to make it more tight. Okay, you might feel But again, you're moving your head back. Takes a little coordination there. There you go. What do you think? How about try the opposite side? So depending on which side you're playing your instrument on, right? You might feel a lot tighter on one side more than the other. If you're already feeling zingers here, I wouldn't turn my head, okay? Because it's gonna make it that much worse. Not too bad? Okay, very good. So that's one of them, okay? The next one we're gonna do is a median nerve. So here you're you can start on your chest, maybe the easiest way to remember it. And then you're gonna put your arm out to the side. So it's kind of like you're standing up to a wall and you want to flatten that hand against that wall. Good. So again, if you tilt your head away, ooh, just a little bit more. This one almost looks skinny. So this would be that carpal tunnel syndrome. So if you ever hear mom or dad say, I have carpal tunnel, I'm going to go get it fixed. Tell them, no, go see your PT. It's very fixable. Not too bad. Okay, let's switch sides. So normally I would do 20 per side, okay? So just start without the head and see if you feel anything there. If not, you can always test it a little bit more. So tilting that head away. Anything there?
Yes.
A little bit? She's like, no. Very good. Okay, super. Okay, so the other one might be easier if you stand up. Otherwise, just skim our knuckles. Okay. So here it's like we're asking, it's like a wiener's tip is what we call it. So you're asking for a tip. So you're a bell lock. So you're going back behind you. Okay, so you can make this tighter by putting your thumb inside your fist. A little bit. You're supposed to say it all. And that same thing. Tilt the head away from that arm. Make it just a bit tighter. It's tight.
After 20 reps, if there's no zingers, should it eventually kind of feel looser?
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, as you're going, it will decrease because we're just like we're stretching a muscle, you're flossing that nerve. So it should be decreasing for you. And if not, if it's still kind of like, it's still there, it should be a little bit less. But I go ahead and stop at 20 anyway, and then you can always start up the next day. Okay. So 20 per day maybe. And even not a bad thing to do before you're practicing. Just to kind of get, it's a fluid motion and you're warming up a little bit maybe. You probably have some other warm-ups that you guys commonly do. Very good. Okay, super. Okay, so the other thing we had talked about, and if you guys want to sit back down and crisscross, or if you wherever's comfy, however it's comfy to be on the floor. So we talked a little bit about our scalenes, but they're coming from up top here and they're running down to our clavicle or first rib or second rib. So what we're going to do here is just stretch those scalenes, because last time, like I said, you guys are here. I never played much of an instrument, so I got as far as the piano and that was about what I stopped. But so we'll go over how to stretch those, okay? So what you're going to do is you're tilting your head away and then you're going back. Okay, so you're tilting up just a tiny bit towards this. Okay, so you'll feel that stretching through here. You're not pushing it to pain again, and you want to hold it for 30 seconds. How many of you do neck circles? Oh, a lot of you, almost all of you. So I would say those are bad. I know, all the things we're used to doing. It's gonna be like, what are you talking about? So I like them, but I don't like extension. So if you're just going back up, you can actually pinch discs, you can pinch vertebrae. Now this won't be as common until you're older, but the older we get, the more likely that is. It's a normal aging process, but they're called infinite processes. So they start to hit and they're gonna pinch, and that's gonna be really painful. So that's when people go, every time I do this, my neck pops, and I go, don't do that. It's just bad for your neck, so I would avoid extension. So even if you know I have to look up there, you wanna stand back and look up. You very rarely wanna be underneath something and just looking for a long period of time. So I'll be careful about that. Or if you can, you know, you could lay down on your back or stargazing or something. Yeah. Okay, so did everybody try the opposite side? So you're tilting away, so ear to shoulder, and then just tilting just a little bit upwards. And so usually one side is way tighter than the other, so just keeping note of that. Okay. But that's where the longer that goes on, you're getting these asymmetries, and then you're starting to tilt your neck, and then we've got problems. Okay, and thinking about your posture, so, and lots of us are really forward rounded, and again, it's because we're always forward. We don't lift things behind our body, right? We don't play instruments behind our body. So again, just watching your shoulder blades and keeping shoulders back. And palms out, you know, as much as you can too. So like we did in our deep compression, it's weird to walk this way, but to lay down that way every once in a while is a good idea. Alright, let's see. What else? Did our nerve glides. Any other questions about like problems as far as pain? No pain to complain of yet?
Candace often have the carpal tunnel because
Yeah.
we're moving our fingers so much.
Yes.
So this is the best.
Mm-hmm.
Are there other things that we can do if there's something that's running further up? or
Higher.
further
I mean, I would
down?
do to do the scalene stretch, you know, so ear towards shoulder and looking up is a really good one to do too. And then watching posture, because it's so important through here. I mean, the other thing that you can do, of course, is massage. I know that gets a little pricey sometimes, but I'm sure that some of them around the area will give you discounts. But even just to have them work, you know, anterior, shoulders, even arms, because gosh, your wrist flexors and extensors, as much as you guys are using them, are gonna get really tight. So even to do that is, you know, is a good thing to have them stretched out. And then another thing, you know, even I'm sure you guys do lots of these stretches. You're doing those. So here you're just stretching that wrist. You're gonna stretch both sides. And again, you're holding it for 30 seconds. Don't press into pain. Newer research is saying 1 second for age you are young, for old. So some of you can get off with less than that, I'm sure. Most. And if you notice one side is really tight compared to the other, you can always do a single, right? So you're putting your arm out here, make sure that you're getting to the fingertips too. You don't want to hold here because that's not going to do anything. So make sure you get the tops of the fingers too. And I would use heat. You know, if you're having pain, I would use heat. And then do the stretches. And you can switch sides there. So that's always a good one to do. And it really, your arm needs to be extended to stretch it too. You can't stretch here, it's not gonna be the same as if it's out straight, okay? Because it does pass that elbow. Very good. Yeah, so those are some of the things that I would think about would be especially important. And then if you ever need help, I mean, physical therapy is not that far away to give us a call. If it's staying around, usually I say, if it's the same pain every day for over 2 weeks, it's probably an injury. You know, if it's one day here or there, we all have little aches and pains that kind of come and go, and hopefully it'll leave, you know, here or there. But if it's repetitive over 2 weeks, that's when you go, might need some extra help. Okay.
Think of where you guys on all of your instruments, if you're practicing in the practice room, where does it seem like you get tight? Maybe she might be able to give you some ideas then. If you get tight and you feel like I can't do this because I'm just a ball of knots, that's obviously a place that you need to work on.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's hard if you're not playing it right now, right? And most of you probably sit, right? When you're playing? No.
Or a lot of us are voice.
Okay, lots of you.
Yeah,
I'm
a lot of you do
saying
play
neck and
other
shoulders.
instruments too, besides voice. There's a lot of singers here, yeah, that's true.
singers and whatnot. So there's a TMJ, right here, you know, your joint. So what you can do is what we call like a TMJ release. So silly looking, but you're gonna put your hands over your TMJ, okay? And you're just gonna let your mouth fall open, and you're just slightly pulling down, but you don't wanna slide on the skin, okay? So you're compressing and just hold down. So you should look like little guppies. And you wanna hold for 5 minutes. So you're not pressing hard into the skin, it's just a little bit of weight of your hands. So you're watching your favorite TV show. So that helps keep holding there, that helps distract that joint, okay? So the mandible is gonna come out just enough to kind of unweight that joint. So yeah, especially if you've been singing a long time, or if you're supposed to be doing exercises repetitively. Sometimes you can feel pulling more on one side than the other. Great. Well, just about 30 seconds more, and you should feel just a little bit of a difference, even just with that. Good. What do you think? Different than what you're used to, maybe, right? A little more relaxed. Sometimes we don't realize how tight we are, because especially, I don't know if any of you notice if you grind your teeth at night. Yeah, or with stress, you know, you're clenching, and so if that jaw's always on, or, yeah, you can always try to release that by just kind of holding just nice and easy. Sometimes we have people come in and they're talking to us and you're like, whoa, good. You know, and you're like, whoa, relax. You know, so people are tightly wound, right? And so we try to get them to kind of come down off that. So sometimes just having them do a simple TMJ release, by the end, you're like, hey, they're opening their mouth up a little bit more. And with vocal, that's gonna get you more oomph, right? Hopefully. And then watch where your head positioning is. So even if you're, you know, while you're singing, maybe take a peek at each other while you're singing and just see, where is my neck at? You know, is it really out forward? Is it back? Is it tilted under? Because that'll make a big difference too. And that might mean something's really tight or your posture's really poor. So working that decompression just a little bit will help with that too.
Those of you who are in band, I know as a pianist, this happens to me when I read music a lot. I do tend to go forward and my neck and back go this way. I don't know if that happens to you in band. So then I feel like knives sometimes.
Yes,
So what's the fastest release of that? Is it up here or is it back here?
Right, good point. Well, anytime, think about, this is a good point, your head is about the size or weight of a bowling ball. So think about it, if you're holding a bowling ball, right, out in front of you, if you put it out here, how much weight is that gonna feel? Oh, it's really gonna be heavy, right? Especially if you hold it for 5 minutes even, and your arms are gonna be like, oh, I'm dying. So if you keep it right here though, that's not so bad. So keep your neck over support. So what I would say, if you can, raise your music a little bit better, because if you can raise it, then you're not doing this, right? If you can be a little closer straight on, I know it can't be here, but if it can be maybe here, then you're looking right here instead of down here. Because anytime it's going to be lower than you're here, yeah, that's going to pull horrible. So then I would say probably your only best bet is doing decompression. If you can't, you don't have time to, you can't get there, even standing against the wall. So bend your knees a little bit, just to protect your low back, but you're gonna press your head back into the wall. So it's like I have before, right? And I'm gonna press my head back, and relax. So I'm doing my head presses here. So even just doing that should help release it just a little bit. That's a good point here. That head is gonna be really heavy if you, yeah. People last time tell me it's so much work if my head's here, and we're like, oh, it's gonna be so much heavier if it's forward. Okay? And And sometimes it's just weak, so doing those head presses is gonna help you strengthen the back side, so it's gonna help you pull your head back up to neutral. But yeah, even homework, you know, computers, how much we spend here. So taking frequent breaks, you know, if you can too, every 20 minutes, 30 minutes, get up, move around, stretch out a little bit. Even pulling your hands back behind you, to get a stretch for the anterior chest is good. And that's gonna release those backside muscles, right? Because it's gonna let them relax. Okay. The other thing you can do laying on your back is even just pressing your arms up towards the ceiling and then relaxing, and that should help relax those muscles too. So if you want to lay down on your back and bend your knees just like we did before in our decompression. So arms are up straight above you, and you're just gonna reach like you're trying to touch the ceiling. Reach, touch that ceiling, and then relax those arms down. Good. And then you want to do it again. So reach towards the ceiling. You're going to touch the ceiling, and then relax. So feel the difference? It kind of almost turns those muscles on and then turns them off. Because sometimes we don't realize what muscles are working and what muscles aren't. So even just loosening those muscles, just remember you have to act like your arm sockets are coming out of their joints because they're reaching as far as they can for the ceiling. And then relaxing back down. Perfect. Yep, just like that, you got it. So I would try that one too, especially if you're hurting at the end. Or if you're practicing and you're going, man, I am stuck. Or, you know, if you can, when you're practicing anyway, to lay down and do some of that. I don't know how often you guys change like heights of your seats, or if you can, you probably can't on piano.
Yeah.
Can you? Okay.
It's most of it, not in practice room, just.
Yeah, so you probably all know this, but make sure, you know, hips should be at 90 degrees, knees are at 90 degrees, elbows are kind of closer to your side if you can. You know, so you're here, you're not here, right? You're not here. You're not here. Yeah. That's always a hard one. Because no one person is the same, and arm lengths are different than your leg lengths, and so. How about how many of you drive a long ways away, like from home? Do you guys go home very often? A few of you. So I brought something. I just want to show you because I think it's so easy and so simple. The pool noodle. So you can get them at Dollar General. I don't know how much they are, but can't be that much. But they're really long, right? And so you're going to cut it, maybe less than a foot or so. So what you can do is you can put it back behind you. So when you're sitting, you're going to put it, you can put it lengthwise, play around a bit, you can put it here. Okay, and that's going to help support your lumbar spine. So I don't care what kind of car you have, it's not enough lumbar support. Everybody tries to tell me, it's so great, and I'm going, because you think about normal cars, right? They're made for, I don't know who, but they're sitting like this, and they have your headrest so far forward.
I hate that.
Yeah, it's horrible. Most headrests, you can take them out and reverse them. So you can try that. But especially for us girls, if you have a bun, it's like, it's not going to work. Because by the time you get there, your neck's killing you because you were here the whole time. So think of that bowling ball. Yeah. But if you can do even just this here, that's going to bring you forward, right? And so then your hair has room and you don't feel so bad. So think about that. Guys, lots of times like to sit with their legs really wide, right? That's going to affect your lumbar spine too. Because then all of a sudden you're rounding, okay? Because if you keep your knees underneath you, then it's going to feel way different, okay? Because then you have to keep your back at a good position. So sometimes we like to sit like that because it feels so comfy. But then, you know, you see the people that walk around and they look like they have the recliner stuck to them. That's what happens. So, because they're going, no, my recliner sits up really well. And when they stand, they're here. And you're going, I don't think so. So think about that, you know, when you're sitting in your car, when you're doing homework. Doesn't mean we can't ever lay out, stretch out on the couch and just do whatever. But especially if you're sitting for 8 hours a day in classrooms and stuff, you have to be really careful how you're sitting. Okay, so, and gosh, classroom chairs are horrible because there's almost no way you can change it. So, do what you can, squeeze your bottom, every once in a while, just make it a kind of common habit of, okay, where am I at in space? Because lots of times we start sitting there and then we're going, wow, that feels so good. So sometimes people have cut these in half too, if it's too much. So, get one and play around with it if it's too much, if it's not enough or whatnot. But that will really help on your long trips. So
What about gals crossing their legs?
yes, yeah, boys do one way and girls do the opposite, that's horrible too. And I've got to watch myself because I used to be the best leg crosser ever, but it is really hard because usually most of you probably, if you were to sit and I said cross your legs, it'd always be the same way. So you always cross right over left or left over right. And even if you're just doing it at your ankles, it's a really bad habit because what happens is your SI joints, so sacrum, your tailbone, right here, and your iliums here, you have two of them, one on either side. So what happens is when you're crossing your legs, one's got to adapt, one's got to pull, right? So you're here, and then all of a sudden you're asking for problems again. It's not going to show up now, but give it 20 years, give it 5 years, 15 years, and they'll start kind of talking back to you a little bit in the form of back pain, other problems. So yeah, be really careful about that too. Yeah, so 2 feet flat on the floor, 90-90 is probably your best bet, generally speaking. So majority of the time that's how we should be sitting. And the other thing too, if your chair is too low, you're gonna get your knees up here, and that's gonna be when you're gonna go, I'm not gonna cross my legs, because some things that feel spinning, because you're too flexed. So for taller people, if you can find a little bit taller chair, so you're almost sitting on the edge, that's when, if I was to sit on something like this, right, where it's a little bit higher for me, it would be weird for me to cross my legs in this position. It wouldn't feel quite right. So this is probably a better way of sitting. So there are chairs called like saddle chairs, kind of funny, but they're up higher. The idea is that you're sitting up higher and you're kind of sitting forward, and so you can't slouch. Same thing with a Swiss ball. Big, huge yoga balls, you can sit on those. Just make sure that they're really high because you don't want to be sitting, underneath you, because then you're still, that back's going to be flexed, so you're going to feel quite comfortable. But the higher up it is, the more likely you are to not want to cross your legs. So, the same thing for guys, because they're so high up, they're not going to, it's going to feel weird to do that. So, yeah, good points. Any other questions?
What about for knees?
Knees? That's a good.
Injuries or.
Okay, yeah, that's a good one. Without looking at you further, the one thing I can say is you gotta look at your glutes. So I would do bridges. They say there's huge connections with the bottom muscles and knee pain. And lots of us walk forward all day long, right? We don't walk backwards. So to train your glutes, so lay on your back and knees are gonna be bent, and then you're lifting your bottom up off the floor. And that's how you're doing a bridge. And I would do lots of those, and that should help. But if not, you can always come in PT or see. I don't know if too bad those athletic trainers probably don't take care of you as much as they could.
They're kind of busy over there.
Yeah, they are. They are.
So demonstrate for us what means walking forward versus walking backwards. Can you demonstrate that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, just people generally. We're always walking forwards. We don't walk backwards.
Oh,
So just speaking.
I meant in the, I thought you meant in our posture.
Oh,
Just forward,
yeah.
backwards. Okay.
No,
okay.
just
The
for
actual
forward
direction.
oriented. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll walk back.
Well, walking
It's not
backwards
about
to
it.
the calf. Okay.
It's not about a day. You think about how often we work on the front side, and the front side muscles are muscles we see, right? So lots of times we forget about what's behind us. So yeah, to do bridges would be really, really good. So I would try that. I just went to a big conference on all about the glutes, so good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah.
Other questions for her? She's the one to ask.
That's
What
right.
about floor positions? Which ones do you like? Nobody move.
Like floor, like sitting? Oh, yeah, good point. Oh gosh, that's a tough one, I don't mind crisscross applesauce for a long period of time. I definitely want to be sitting like side saddle kind of thing. That's really hard. I don't know if very many of you, do you know what W sitting is? Or if you ever used to do it?
Like-
Yeah.
Like the little
Oh
kids
gosh, Yeah, and that's really bad for you. Yeah, we try to stop that, we try to nip that for little kiddos when they're really young, because the more they do that, the more poor their balance is. Just because when you're sitting in a squatted position, right, those deep squats that they sit in, they're gonna have to challenge their balance because they're reaching for stuff, but when they get that W, think of how wide your base of support is, so it becomes very poor. So, yeah, sitting on the ground is a hard one, but yeah, I'd probably choose crisscross applesauce, or I'd probably bend my knees underneath me. And that way your back's neutral, right? And the other thing you can do if you have to,
Does this overcompensate your knees?
and I was just gonna say, I would grab a pillow. Sometimes if I have to treat a patient on the floor, I would sit on a pillow
Okay.
between my legs.
In here, between here.
Exactly.
Because after a while, I would think your meniscus kind of starts hurting.
Yeah, your knees would start talking to you, yeah. Yeah, so I would use a pillow, kind of like the catchers, you know, in baseball, the knee savers. So just grab a pillow. So yeah, if you have to sit for a long period of time, I'd probably, or even if you're sitting crisscross applesauce, right? Your back is pretty, you're not too bad, but pretty flexed a little bit there. So if you put a pillow underneath her bottom, right? She'd be up a little bit higher, so her back wouldn't be as rounded, so that'd be about perfect. So, because if your hammies are tight and you're really rounded, so you're not doing too bad. He's like, I'm trying. Yeah. He's like, well, like this. Yeah, if your hamstrings are tight, it's gonna feel weak to sit in that position for a long period of time. So, yeah.
So your singer position is actually not a bad position where your sternum is up.
Lifted, yep.
Yeah, your singer position is not bad.
No, that's good.
So we'll walk around like, singer.
Yeah. Definitely.
Do you have anything else for like the jaw? 'Cause my jaw like will pop and mine actually gets locked sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good point. So along with the TMJ release, there's lots of, actually you train your tongue. Your tongue has almost 22 different muscles inside of it, attached to it. Crazy. So you can think about touching the tip of your tongue to the roof of your mouth. So you can do it with mouth closed versus mouth opened. And then you can touch the tip of your teeth with the tip of your tongue. So they're all little exercises that you're gonna do, and it's just getting there and getting back. You can flatten your tongue against the roof of your mouth, and then relax, and then flatten it up against the roof of your mouth, and then relax. So any of those little exercises are gonna help stabilize. There's all kinds of muscles in there, and if they're not being used appropriately. Also, you can do jaw, kind of depression, so open and close, open and close, yep.
What if you can't open your mouth all the way without your jaw popping?
Yeah.
Cause even it's already popping.
When you release, so I'd stick with your tongue exercises until it starts to feel like it's better. Yeah. That's a tough one. But yeah, I would just start with lots of those. But yeah, that'll get worse as you age too, so start now with those little exercises, but, and you can press against, your teeth with your tongue to the right side, to the left side. Kind of hold it 5 seconds. All of those things are gonna be stabilizing for your jaw. And sometimes, and there's little muscles, your little pterygoids here and whatnot that you can even, find it. Gosh, if you guys poke around long enough, you'll find little trigger points or areas that feel tight. And just hold. So you're not pressing really, really hard, but you're just holding. So come underneath your maxilla right here, kind of underneath those cheekbones. And you'll find some little tight areas, and so just pressing and holding. Like I said, it doesn't have to be hard. So that would be another good one that I would probably say you could do. free handouts for you, so just come to the department. Kind of underneath Salem Nursing Home, we're kind of in the basement. But if you guys come through those ground canopies up against Surge, that's where we're at. So I can print you out anything if you stop by, just tell me what some more TMJ exercises or whatnot, I can print them out for you. Be happy to do that. But I printed out decompression stuff for you, the things we did at the very beginning, and then the nerve glides. So that's what you've got. And I'll leave some extras just in case.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Next week we'll be back in the